We are days away from the start of the legislative session. Lawmakers return to work Monday. Before they do, we invited Kansas House Speaker Dan Hawkins to the studio for a look ahead. Here's our conversation. Hard to believe it's just right around the corner, isn't it?
It has. It's been a fast trip to this point. It's getting busy.
What has been this pre-session time like for you? You have new faces, returning faces, all coming in.
Yeah, once the election was over, it was really just kind of a mad dash, kind of getting everybody ready for the session, getting the session up and running as far as our all the things that we have to do to start session. So that's always a busy time. We still have things to do. This week's a real busy week getting ready for next Monday, but I think we're going to be ready.
Just making sure everybody has an office and a place to sit and pens and paper and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and you know, offices and seats on the floor is a big deal. So,
what is the top issue on your agenda? Where does the priority lie for you this
session?
The
top issue this year, Melissa, is really property taxes. As we campaigned across the state, it really didn't matter what part of the state we were in. The main issue that people talked about at the door was property tax. And property tax is very high. And everybody got their property tax bill back in late November. We had to pay by December 20th. Mine was 15% increase. And I don't know how that really stacks up against other parts of the state, but 15% increase is a pretty good increase, and so people are feeling it.
We have heard from local leaders, local government leaders, that really this lies with the legislature to fix the situation. The state mill levy is only part of the story, and much of that goes toward education. The other half of it is how property valuations are arrived at. And local government officials say that that falls to state lawmakers to do something about, because they are hampered by what they are required to do from yours. So for example, market valuations, when we saw market values soar, we saw all of our values soar. Now that inflation has slowed down, I'm not really seeing my property tax valuation go down at all.
No, and so that's one thing I started really researching. And the property valuation is done by a formula. And so I went to research just last week and said, can you give me some research showing how property valuations compare to sales prices? And it was really astonishing to me. Most of the state, the actual appraised value is still about 10% under market value. So property valuation is not the problem. The problem is our houses have just went up. Inflation has caused houses to go up. And our property valuation is supposed to be based on market price, how much we can sell our property value or our property for. And even with property valuations going up, they're still underneath what those houses are selling for.
If that's the case, then what do we do? What can the legislature do? If you don't believe that the valuation and appraisal process is the problem, then how do we fix the property tax problem?
And I don't think that it is. I wasn't sure until I did the research, but after seeing the research, I do not think that our system of valuation is wrong. Yeah, I think it's proven to be correct. So now we have to look at, do we do some type of revenue neutral position based on property valuation, to where the amount of revenue collected can't go over a certain amount? I'm not sure what the answer is, but we are working on it. We're talking. I do think we will have a plan before very long in the session to address that. But the idea of doing a constitutional amendment to limit appraised value to 4% has some real unintended consequences that people would not like. And so we got to be careful what we do and make sure that we don't do something that really exacerbates the problem.
Democrats want to push again for Medicaid expansion.
Sure.
Will you allow for a debate on that? Will you encourage debate on that? Or do you believe it's something that's been asked and answered?
Do I believe what?
Has it been asked and answered, debated, studied?
Oh, it's been debated every year since 10 years now. For 10 years running, go clear back to 2015 was the first debate. We've had debate after debate after debate. Will it come up again this year? Absolutely. It will come up on the floor, and when it comes up on the floor, they'll get the chance to debate, and it'll probably end up exactly the same way it has every other year, and that is, it's not going to go anywhere.
Why don't you support doing something along those lines?
Well, I will tell you that there's a lot of reasons. We could take an hour and a half, and I can't sum it up in 2 minutes. But I can tell you there's a lot of really big reasons, and one is, and I think you're going to see it really soon in the Trump administration, they have to cut spending. And where are they going to cut it? They're going to cut it in Medicaid. And when they cut it, they're going to drop that 90-10 match down to a 60-40 match. That would cost us about $500 million to do that. And I guarantee you we don't have $500 million to spend year over year over year. That'll put us in the hole within 2 short years.
Debate will follow. The House and Senate both convene 2 p.m. Monday. Governor Laura Kelly delivers her State of the State address Wednesday evening.